Alright, what's going on everyone, it's Aidan here, back with another track breakdown, except it's going to be a little different. It's going to be a new series where I just break down the tracks that I make for the fan OSTs as I make them. So the tracks will come out around a Saturday, and then hopefully I'll be able to get these tracks out on the following Sunday, all ready to go as well. This one's a little late because I was figuring some stuff out with the scheduling and some of the other posting stuff that I'm going to be doing. But yeah, this is the first one, and it's going to be for the Narumi track that came out just last Saturday. So if you guys haven't heard that, you can go listen to it now and come back. Or if you just want to watch the track breakdown and listen to some of it as we go along, that's fine too. Explain as much as I can as I go along, but obviously depending on you guys' feedback, the formats can change down the road for sure. Alright, so for this first one, I'm just going to explain it as the track goes down, and yeah, we'll just start from the beginning of the track all the way to the end and have a look at the sounds and the drums and all that as we go. So it starts out with this brake kit. It's a contact kit from Damage 2. This is the electronics garbage kit, and that's just what it starts up with the for the intro. And it's got this really nice kind of stinger sound that I put there. And then it repeats again with a slight variation, as we can see here, if I can figure out how to drag it. There we go. So you can see there's a little fill at the end, and then on the second one there is no fill. Alright, now we can look at the bass that comes in. This is a contact bass that I've just put some effects on to beef it up a little bit. And this is the gnashing teeth rhythm from No.8 bass, another contact one, and this one has just got a bunch of effects on it to really make it stick out, since it is the only instrument that plays during these parts here. As you can see, it's very... this track overall is pretty slim, not bare bones necessarily, but there's not a ton of instruments in this track, like I usually would have. But yeah, so we got SSG. The amp is really good. If you put the amp on the clean or the heavy setting for basses, you can get a really good tone out of it. The pedal as well, I usually follow up with a pedal every time on the distort setting. And then we have saturation. That's just there to help with the peaks. Trash, which setting do we have? We have the deep creep setting on like 10%. Something like that, and then it follows up with 550 just to take out some of those muddy lows and boost the 7K range there. Again, it's the only instrument playing, so it can really be full spectrum during this part. And then this is a really good one here, GM Audio Squeeze. This is free, but it's basically a variation on an OTT, and I've just got the mix up all the way here, turn the squeeze up, and then the style is about 1.7-ish there, and you can hear what it sounds like with it on and off here. So you can hear the bass comes through a little bit more, and the highs get compressed, but also a little bit shinier as well. And then when we go to the next section, this is the same bass, but it's got a little bit less processing, and the contact section here. Oh yeah, this filter is turned off, I believe, in this main one. Not turned off, the cutoff is higher on the main one. That's why it sounds a bit crunchier, and that's just so the lead here can come through a bit more. This lead is called Future Now. I forgot where I got it from, but it sounds like this. Oh, there we go, it's from an ESW pack, and it's just a really strong pluck, sounds super modern, cuts through, and then it goes into the switch up section here. And this is just a vocal sample that says, huh? And I have a reverb on it to give it a bit of space, and it's just acting as this little side-chained thing here. You can see that this compressor is side-chained to the little vocal snippet here, and that's just to give it a bit of duck. So you can hear all the instruments ducking out there. I think I even have it on some of the drums. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's even on some of the drums there for when it comes in. And I just thought it sounded pretty cool at the time. And I know I wanted some kind of vocal thing in. And I'm probably going to do a similar thing with the Shinomiya one when I get to that. Then we get into this build section here. There's an auto filter on the drums. All automated. So at the top there's this little ambient rain texture that's just reversed. And it's pretty heavy on the texture, not so much on the rain. And that's just to add some variance during that build. And the drums here are from, I believe, yes, the Info Revolution kit from the Hyperreal. Where is it? This here. This Hyperreal kit by Coma Kid. You can't really see it because of the webcam. But this Hyperreal kit here is super clean and has a lot of juicy stuff for hyperpop stuff. But I've just used it. Maddie, can you not? That's Maddie. And yeah, so this Hyperreal kit is the Info Revolution one. And we've just put a drum bus, SSG, SSL G channel, API again, just for the tone, not really to do anything. And then I have the 2500 on every single drum track, and I make sure to separate them from these drums here. These are the more individual sounds, and then I just move the kits above that. So this is the MIDI for the Info Revolution. And we're just using the groove here. This is the Swing 8's 52. That's the one that I have as a go-to in my default Ableton set, which I could also make a video on as well. That might be the next one, who knows. And then it just switches up in this second half here with a different hi-hat. I'm using that one instead of that one. And these basses here, this is a Vital bass that I just got together. This isn't a preset, I've just used some BLA wavetables. Nothing special, nothing crazy, just a little bit of automation on this envelope to move the wavetables as they go. And same amp pedal on that one. And on this one, I forgot what this one is. Oh, sorry, no, that's the same one. This is the new sound. And this is a moving harmonics preset. Just sounds like a pretty cool robot sound, so I thought I'd chuck that in to change up the second half of the drop there. And then we go into this whole transition part, and it's another drop as well at the end. Actually, sorry, before we get to that, I forgot to explain this bass during the switch up. This is actually a preset you can get on Ableton, and I've just mixed it up and saved it into my little instruments section. So I just changed up some of the settings in it because I didn't like the way it sounded for this track in particular. And then it's just got some general effects on it. Rough Rider, and again, the G channel. We have Shapeshifter, which is at about 38%. And this is just really good for some drive, some of that old kind of analog grit, if you will. And then it just automates its auto filter during the second part. Just for when these drums come in. And the kick is from HDS, and I've just put a low pass there. Otherwise, without it, it's very, very clicky, but I didn't want that. And this ghost, by the way, is the sidechain that everything is sidechained to. So if we look at the instrument group here, you can see that the sidechain pumps to the ghost track, and the ghost track is just a operator, and then you can change the decay here. Okay, now back to this drop. So this is the chunk a lot bass. This is another Ableton preset one that I've changed up quite a bit. I've got the arpeggiator doing actual arpeggiation, not just for the sound design part. So it gets this really cool effect here. And this is literally just 3 octaves of notes. And then I've also I've changed the auto filter up here a little bit as well. But then I've also thrown this fat rack onto it, and that is to just beef it up a bit. And following that is, again, the rack that has been put on to the other basses with the amp and the pedal and the squeeze, but at differing levels just to keep it in line with the others. And then for this last part during the drop, this is a mince and hack rack that comes with the glitch and wash pack in Ableton, which is really, really good. I've just turned off the auto pan part because I don't want the bass panning, and this is what it sounds like as it comes in. So it's not a very bassy drop per se, but it's got a lot of grit to it, which I think definitely carries it. And again, it just brings in the little sample here and the reverbs back on. I automated this reverb off just for this build part so that it was a bit more intimate. And then we have the Hero Worship Kit. This is from the same Hyperreal pack by Coma Kid. Really good. Changed up just a couple things. No automation on these kits. I really liked changing the settings up so that this perk kind of sounds like a vocal sample almost. Kind of sounds like a jungle vocal sample. And then this kit here is a studio kit, just normal everyday drums, but to back up the cymbal portion for the second part of this drop. And it's super subtle, but it's just there to add the hats in. And then at the bottom here, we also have a break section. 99% of the time, I would break up the breaks and make them a lot more interesting than what they actually are. But on this occasion, I have used the whole sample here just to keep things simple and not make things too messy. Yeah, just using RC20 with the Drum Break 2 preset, changing up the digital part a bit because it was a bit much before. And that's about it. There are some hats here too. It's just a hat that I picked out from the Hyperreal pack and put it there. With a bit of auto pan. Add some width. And then all of these effects are just some rises and impacts to help some of the transitions. That's a Cymatics one that I use in almost every project. This is from Ableton here, this clap impact. And I've just got the mince and hack rack on this as well, but with the auto pan turned on. These audio clips down here are from an ASD pack. Little dubsteppy kind of effects, some rhythm kind of sounding effects, I guess you could call it. and I've reversed them just to help with some of the transitional parts, as well as like in the drop here. You can see that it's partway through the drop. It's like a little kind of gunshot sound effect, like a laser. And then we have these down here. We just solo the effects group, just to help with this transition part. And then I guess to wrap up this little breakdown would be just the parallel processing for these send tracks here. So they're both at -20. I generally wouldn't turn it up any more than that, otherwise it gets a bit much. It becomes a bit too obvious. But this is just the drums and the instruments all put onto these send tracks with a lot of compression. So what you heard just then is very compressed audio from everything that's playing, and that is on top of the instruments that are already going. And for the effects reverb, if anyone's interested, it's just a vintage verb with a bit of chorus space, EQ, and then the sidechain for the kick, because I don't want the effects reverb ringing out a ton while the drums are playing. And for the mastering, it's super simple. I do have a new mastering rack that I have moved to now, but this sounded really good at the time, so I just used this. It's the Kramer tape. I'm putting this on a bit more now. This is the clean and open preset with the noise and the wow turned all the way down, and this low pass as well turned all the way up to let through as much as I can, and that's just to get some of the that tape feel through the master. And here is how I create headroom for Ozone. I use the BS8 clipper with either 5 or 6 dB of gain here, and then I turn this down to -3. And if we play it, I'll just turn off the Ozone. And if we play it, you can see that it barely even reaches the -3. If it does though, it just gets clipped off. And that just lets Ozone have a bit more freedom with how it does the processing, so it's not getting bombarded. Because when I make the song in the first place and I don't have the mastering chain on, I always have this main turned up to the max of 6 while I edit. And that way, when I get to the mastering portion and I turn it back down to 0, there's already some headroom by default, usually sitting around 5 to 7, 5 to 8 dB of headroom, and then the BSA clipper comes in to bring it all up again. And then I just use the mastering assistant for Ozone, but of course I go through and edit the modules myself as well. A little bit of soft clipping. For my electronic tracks, I always use medium at about 10%. Upward compression is a sometimes setting. Don't use it all the time, it depends on the track, but because this track doesn't have too much going on at one point, I felt the upwards compression could really help with the softer parts getting brought up. Output level, always go -1.1 if you're doing stuff for streaming services as well. Keeps it safe. Well, let's see if there's anything I've missed. First thing comes to mind here is the ambience. This is Cymatic's Life Pack, some Atlanta traffic. That's just to add some air during the little build up there. I don't think I showed this. So the snares that I used, not all of them got used. I think I just used the 1 and the 3. These are from the Digicussion 1 pack, I believe, from Ableton. It's a free pack as well if you own the Suite version of Ableton Live 12 or 11, whatever it is. And not really any processing, just cutting out the lows there. And then we have the reverse snare, which is just these snares that are playing now, but reversed to help out the groove. And if you just want to really quickly record your own like reverse snares and all that, you can come over to an audio track, make it on, put it on resampling, arm it, and then solo the track you want, and then just hit record, F9. And then you have some snares to play with, press R to reverse, and then you can make your reverse snares super quick. Usually in a track like this as well, I would have done reverse kicks into the drops. To be honest, I just kind of forgot to do that while making it because I was having fun messing around with the hyperreal pack stuff, but that's okay. It's not a big deal. If and when I get this onto Spotify, I will be remastering it a little bit and doing stuff like that with the reverse kick. But yeah, that's going to be about it. I have gone quite over time here, so I'm going to try and compress this video down as much as I can for this first one. So I need you guys to give all the feedback you can. Is it too long? Is it too short? Was I talking too much? Was I not explaining enough? Did you want me to go through and explain every plugin or only a couple? So you guys are really going to shape the continuation of the series and how it goes. Please feel free to be as aggressive as you want with the feedback. If I did fucking shit, then you can tell me that. I'd love to hear it. And also, please let me know as well what track breakdown you would want next. I can pump some of these out if the feedback is there and people are interested in seeing this stuff. So if there's a song I've made, even if it's from 2 years ago, just ask me if you want a breakdown of it, or if there's a sound from a song that you want me to show and break down, I can easily get that done. So yeah, thank you very much everyone who has watched till the end here. I really appreciate it, and yeah, I will see you in the next track breakdown once I decide what the next fan OST is going to be. But yeah, much love everyone. Have a good one.